Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now, today's episode, we are focusing on American Express, specifically the credit card application rules you need to be aware of before you try to cram that 8th application and as many days down American Express's inbox. So, of course, we'll talk about all the cards, the charge cards, the personal cards, business, co-branded, go over everything, as well as some of the shadow rules that have come up over the last few months and years of playing this game. So if that sounds interesting to you, of course, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, first things first here, if you were ever to phone up Amex or chat Amex and ask them about these rules, there's a really good chance they don't give you a straight answer. And the reason for that is because these are more so underwriting guidelines than anything else, right? So the phone rep might not know, or, more realistically, companies, banks, anyone really doesn't publish their underwriting guidelines. But since people have been playing this game for quite some time, we've got more than enough data points to figure this out. So just keep that in mind as we go. So let's start off with the basic rules and we will work our way up. So the first rule we have is called 1 in 5. And I always love when something's named exactly what it is. This is called 1 in 5 because you are limited to 1 card approval every 5 days. So pretty straightforward, to the point, right? So you could apply today, time you're watching this, get approved. You need to wait, 5 days. So basically on that 6th day, that's when you could technically put in for another card. Now, these aren't differentiated between personal and business either. So something to keep in mind as well. At least to my knowledge, there's not. They're just saying general 1 approval period for 5 days, right? So keep that in mind. But that's pretty self-explanatory. So we can move on to the next one. And in case you think you're just going to just every 5 days apply for Amex cards until you have them all, well, you're also out of luck because the next rule is called 2 in 90. So as you might imagine, this is going to limit customers to 2 card approvals every 90 days. So basically, if you talk about these 2 rules together, you could apply for a card today, wait to that 6th day, apply for another card, you could get approved, but then you're kind of on a timeout or a cooldown and for 90 days. Right now, it's a rolling 90 days, so eventually that first application, 90 days from when you were approved from the first card, that one would fall off, and you could get your next card if you wanted to, right? Pretty self-explanatory there. Again, I would just, if you're looking to keep track of this, you can generally go back into your account statements and see, when your first statement issued. That's a good way to tell. Also, Mint.com, they usually have, if you go into your average age of credit underneath your credit score, it will tell you the exact day and the age of, individual accounts. So you could go there, look at your Amex cards if you wanted, and see, when exactly the account was opened. And that will be an easy way to remember. That's generally what I do, especially when you're talking about a Chase 524, something like that. Now, overall, these rules exist to really protect American Express, right? There's no context on a credit card application. So if they just see someone applying for a ton of credit, they don't really know why. But it's kind of weird because Amex is, yes, like every company, they're trying to entice you to apply for their cards, right? That's why promotional offers exist, but at the same time, they don't want you to apply for too many. So that's kind of why they exist. Again, it's more of the underwriting thing than everything else. So, with this pace though, right, could you get 2 new cards every 90 days? How many cards can you actually have? Well, that brings us to our next rule, and this is on card limits. So we can see when it comes to card limits, this is broken up between credit cards and charge cards. So you are limited to 5 credit cards at any time. That is personal plus business together. On the other hand, you are limited to 10 charge cards at a time. So if you remember the charge cards, even though American Express doesn't reference it on their site anymore, they basically dropped the names altogether. But green, gold, platinum, those are your charge cards. On the business side, you also have business green, business gold, business platinum. Those are charge cards as well. I think the plum card technically is a charge card as well. And of course, you have the Charles Schwab platinum and the Morgan Stanley platinum as well. Those are charge cards as well, right? everything else would be a credit card, and even though they don't call it a charge card, you know this because one with the green, for example, the gold, there's no preset credit limit, right? There's like, they do it off of purchase power. They have a tool where you can go in and see, like, if I bought this thing, would I be approved for, right? And then the other thing is you have to pay the balance in full at the end of the billing cycle. Now they do, as a side note, they do have, a lot of payment options, for the charge cards as well. I can link you something down below for that. And everything else, like, Blue Cash Preferred, Hilton, Delta, those cards, those are going to be credit cards, right? Now that number has changed. That credit card number has changed. It used to be 4. I don't think it was a number. Then it became 4. Now at the time of taping this, it seems like it's up to 5 again. So, if you have 5 credit cards, you just won't get approved for your next one, which means you would technically have to cancel one, and then you could get approved for another one. Charge cards limit is much higher, which is funny because there's not really 10 charge cards that you would want. I don't think, you could get 10 platinum cards if you wanted, but that would just be diminishing returns, I would imagine, and so many coupons to deal with. So anyways, those are the rules on that. Now we move to our next rule, which is not so much an application rule, but more so of a intro bonus offer rule, if you will. Now, American Express is famous for their once-in-a-lifetime language, so you are only eligible for 1 intro bonus per card product. Now, 2 things to define here. 1, we don't need to make a reincarnation joke. Those get made all the time, right? But once per lifetime, really what they're saying is, hey, if you get the personal green card, right? Sign-up bonus, 40,000, 30,000 points, whatever it's going for right now, right? Once you get that, once you have the card, I should say, you're no longer eligible for a green personal card bonus for the rest of your life, apparently. And the reason I say have the card is once you've opened up the account, let's say you open the account for a day, decide for whatever reason you don't like the card, get rid of it. It doesn't matter because you've had the card, you've had that account, you will never be eligible for a bonus again on the green card. Now, other thing here when they talk about different products, right? So a perfect example would be like the platinum card. There are multiple flavors of the platinum. You've heard the term vanilla platinum. That's the regular non-co-branded platinum card. And you have the Charles Schwab Platinum card. Looks the exact same. It's basically the exact same card, except it's got a Charles Schwab logo on it. And there's a little bit differentiated between the other points redemptions if you have, go through your Charles Schwab account. There's a Morgan Stanley Platinum card as well. Those are all different products, right? So all Platinum cards, but 3 different products. So as a result, you can get the bonus on the Vanilla Platinum, a bonus on the Charles Schwab, and a bonus on the Morgan Stanley. In fact, that's probably the best way to run platinum cards is to save the one you want to keep for last. I would usually recommend the Charles Schwab is the one you keep, but you can keep running through them like that. Now, one other thing to note here is that sometimes they have no lifetime language offers that get sent out. So if you read the terms and conditions, that'll actually say that you just won't see the no once per lifetime line. I've seen people be able to get approved for this. It's always a your mileage may vary thing, right? American Express is so sensitive when it comes to their rules and everything that I don't know that it's really necessarily worth it per se to try, but they do come out from time to time. So if you see one with no lifetime language, you could definitely give it a shot. But again, just kind of buyer beware there if you want. Now with that, we're going to take a look at a few co-branded rules. So the next one is about Marriott, right? So Marriott, they have what they call the 1-lane rule. So, basically what this means is you're not eligible for an Amex Marriott Bonvoy intro bonus if you currently have or have had a Chase Marriott card or bonus in the last 24 months. That's the simplified version of the rule. But really what happened was, if you remember back, Marriott, they had the SPG Marriott merger, right? So at the time, American Express had SPG. It was like the purple card, Starwood Preferred Guests, and I think Chase had Marriott. And then, the merger happened, and they split the portfolio, so they converted some SPG cards to Marriott cards. And as a result, I think Amex has the higher-end Marriott cards, and then Chase has the lower-tier Marriott cards, right? So because Marriott, it's probably more of a Marriott rule than anything else that made by them, but you can't go ahead and get the Marriott Bonvoy Bold or Brilliant. I think the Bold from Chase, and then turn around and get the Brilliant from American Express, right? You got to pick a lane, right? That's what that means. So really just go down through and pick whichever card works for you. Anyways, that is the 1-lane rule. So I'll put up a chart from TPG that kind of shows you. This is a super simplified version to figure out which one you're eligible for, because it does take into account the SPG cards as well, especially if you haven't changed those over. Now we have a Hilton rule as well. This is a throwback a little bit. So this is the Hilton Honor Surpass, and they say the welcome offer not available to applicants who have or have had the Hilton Honors American Express Surpass card or Hilton Honors American Express Ascend card. I believe what happened here is the Ascend is basically the old version of the Surpass, right? So instead of just saying, hey, we made a new product, it's more like they converted the product And as a result, you can't have had both of them, right? So just something to keep in mind. So really, those are your main American Express rules. Now, there's nothing as annoying as 524 here, but the thing to keep in mind about American Express is one, they have the rewards abuse team, right? So with American Express, it's really you really never want to abuse the system too much, right? Like buying tons of gift cards and things like that, manufacturing spending is going to set them off. Even trying to use the credits and coupons they have on the cards is going to set them off, and they will not hesitate to claw back stuff and shut down accounts, unfortunately. They are the most sensitive about it. But I did want to touch on one other thing that we've seen become more prevalent over the years, and that is what I kind of classify as like shadow rules, if you will. Because what we know about American Express is they really prioritize you using your cards, right? So, a lot of us, sometimes we get cards and we just get them for the bonus, and we don't come back to them, or, we have a lot of cards, right? We don't put a ton of spend on them. So as a result, Amex has what they call pop-up jail. Well, we call it pop-up jail. I don't know what they call it internally. But anyways, what the theory is that if you haven't used your Amex card to put enough spend on it, or if you and Amex's eyes have abused the system in any way, but not enough for a clawback or a shutdown, what will happen is you'll go to fill out an application for a new card, and you'll get a pop-up that says you are not eligible for the bonus on this card, but you can still apply and get the card, right? That'll also count if you've had the bonus, they'll tell you, which I think is at least a nice thing to do for them to tell you before you submit the application, because again, they can't outright deny you for the card because that's based on underwriting rules, and you just do an outright denial because we don't like how you use our cards. Well, that ends up in all sorts of potential profiling issues and underwriting guidelines and things like that. But they can keep you from getting the bonus, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. There's a way to play Amex where you end up in, don't get in trouble and don't piss them off, because again, they have a lot of good cards, a lot of valuable cards there, but it's just more so something to keep in mind. Now, how much are you supposed to spend on the cards? Well, I don't really know. I've seen, it varies on card, right? So I've seen anyone say, hey, you put, a few $1,000 on the cards over time, because we have seen people be able to dig themselves out of pop-up jail, right, by getting their cards back in the rotation, continuous spend on them. I don't think you have to spend monumental amounts of money, but just continuously use them, and then you check back in 6 months, and then you're out of pop-up jail. Additionally, there's some ways to get around it, like, at the time, Amex is doing a partnership with Resi, which they own, where they have their own application page you can go through. Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, since you apply through that, and that can technically get you around it, I believe. But again, that's more of a shadow rule than anything else that we've seen come and go more so, but it's become more prevalent. That's why I wanted to mention it. But anyways, guys, that is all the American Express application rules that you need to be aware of. Overall, really not that bad. The thing, again, just to remember is American Express takes the rules very seriously, and how you use the cards and how much you use the cards will play a major part. But of course, let me know down below what you think. What are some other American Express rules, or how do you play American Express system versus other systems, knowing how rewards abuse or rat operates. But anyways, guys, if you like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, of course, consider subscribing to the channel. It's posting content just like this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Again, sound off below, or just give me your best rewards abuse team stories or jokes if you have them. You play this game long enough, you're likely to encounter them, unfortunately. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.